Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com the 4th week of March 2024. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any newspaper in America and beyond. Singer and songwriter Sandra Crouch died March 17, 2024 in California. She died of complications from radiation treatment at the age of 81. She won a Grammy Award for her gospel music, and she sang with notable artists like the Jackson 5 and Billy Preston. Crouch is also being remembered for the music she made with her twin brother, gospel legend Andre Crouch. Musician Maurizio Pollini died March 23, 2024 in Milan at the age of 82. He was an Italian pianist and conductor who helped establish the Rossini Opera Festival. Pollini is being remembered for decades of music, including the 58 CD collection released in honor of his 75th birthday. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Actor Ron Harper died March 21, 2024 at his home in West Hills, California. He died of natural causes at the age of 91. He starred as astronaut Alan Verdon in the 1974 TV adaptation of Planet of the Apes. He is also being remembered for starring in such TV shows as Land of the Lost, Garrison's Gorillas, and 87th Precinct. Harper was a U.S. Navy veteran who served in the 1950s. Actress, dancer, and activist Julie Robinson Belafonte died March 9, 2024 in Los Angeles. She died of cardiopulmonary failure at the age of 95. She was the longtime wife of Harry Belafonte, and she worked with him in the struggle for civil rights, including marching for voter rights in Selma, Alabama. Belafonte is also being remembered for appearing in such movies as Lust for Life and dancing in Katherine Dunham's Dance Company. World War II veteran Richard C. Higgins died March 19, 2024 at his granddaughter's home in Bend, Oregon. He died of natural causes at the age of 102. After growing up in Dust Bowl-era Oklahoma, he joined the U.S. Navy in 1939 and was stationed at Pearl Harbor as an aviation mechanic. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, he worked to save the Navy's planes, risking enemy fire to push unharmed planes from others that were in flames. Higgins is being remembered as one of the last remaining survivors of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Author and artist Lauron de Brunhoff died March 22, 2024 at his home in Key West, Florida. He died of complications from a stroke at the age of 98. His father created Babar the Elephant, and he continued that legacy after his father's untimely death, writing dozens of Babar books. De Brunhoff is being remembered for bringing worldwide fame to Babar and modernizing the beloved character. Attorney Peter Angelos died March 23, 2024 in Towson, Maryland. He died after a long illness at the age of 95. He was the longtime owner of the Baltimore Orioles, known for his refusal to bring in replacement players during the 1994-95 Major League Baseball strike. Angelos is also being remembered for his extensive philanthropy in his hometown of Baltimore. Activist and philanthropist Linda Bean died March 23, 2024 in Maine at the age of 82. She was the granddaughter of Leon Leonwood Bean, founder of the outdoor wear company LL Bean. Bean is being remembered for supporting the arts and other causes through her philanthropy, as well as for her conservative activism. General Alfred M Gray Jr. died March 20, 2024, at his home in Alexandria, Virginia, at the age of 95. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1950 and fought in both the Korean War and the Vietnam War, earning such honors as the Silver Star. In 1987, he became the commandant of the Marine Corps, leading the organization until his retirement in 1991. Gray is being remembered as a Marine's Marine who focused on knowledge and innovation during his years leading the Corps. Chess player Lisa Lane died February 28, 2024, at her home in Carmel, New York. She died of cancer at the age of 90. Her death was reported this week. She was the U.S. women's chess champion in the 1950s and 60s, making news with her ruthless approach to the game. Lane is being remembered as the first chess player ever to be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Artist Richard Serra died March 26, 2024, at his home in Orient, New York. He died of pneumonia at the age of 85. He was called the Poet of Iron, known for his massive steel sculptures that can be seen around the world in museums and in the landscape. Serra is being remembered for works like The Matter of Time, a series of curving structures that invites visitors to walk along its paths. Reality TV star George Gilby died March 27, 2024, in Shoeburyness, Southend-on-Sea, England. He died in a workplace accident at the age of 40. He was a star of the British reality series Gogglebox, which features families and groups of friends as they watch popular TV shows. Gilby is also being remembered as a contestant on Celebrity Big Brother. Former Senator Joe Lieberman died March 27, 2024, at a New York City hospital. He died of complications from a fall at the age of 82. He represented Connecticut in the U.S. Senate from 1989 to 2013, first as a Democrat and later as an independent. Lieberman is also being remembered for his vice presidential candidacy alongside Al Gore in 2000. He was the first Jewish candidate on a major party's presidential ticket. Professional cheerleader and software engineer Krystal Anderson died March 20, 2024, in childbirth at the age of 40. She was a cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs for more than 10 years, and she worked with such charities as Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Kansas City and the First Hand Foundation. Anderson is also being remembered for her work to advocate for women in STEM. She developed software assessing the risk of postpartum hemorrhage. Psychologist and economist Daniel Kahneman died March 27, 2024, at the age of 90. He won a Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences for his work demonstrating how people tend to jump to conclusions to make hasty decisions against their own best interest. Kahneman is being remembered for bringing psychology to the study of economics in a surprising and revealing way. Author Vernor Vinge died March 20, 2024, in La Jolla, California. He died after a diagnosis with Parkinson's disease at the age of 79. His award-winning science fiction novels included A Fire Upon the Deep and Rainbow's End. Vinge is being remembered for developing the idea of a technological singularity, exploring and warning about the development of artificial intelligence beyond human intelligence. Vernor Vinge's passing was reported last week by Locus Magazine, the independent, nonprofit newsroom of the science fiction world. For those of you who are science fiction fans, you can visit Locus's fundraising campaign right now and support their good work by pledging to receive autographed books by authors including Neil Gaiman, George R. Martin, and more. Just click on the link in this video. 6 people are presumed dead after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore on March 26, 2024. As of this recording, the names of those who died have not all been released to the public. At least 4 people were killed in a series of apparent stabbing attacks in Rockford, Illinois on March 27, 2024. As of this recording, the names of those who died have not been released to the public. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 8 years ago this week, actress Patty Duke died at the age of 69. She won an Academy Award for The Miracle Worker and starred on TV as identical cousins in The Patty Duke Show. 8 years ago this week, actor and comedian Garry Shandling died at the age of 66. He starred in It's Garry Shandling's Show and The Larry Sanders Show, and he played Senator Stern in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 15 years ago this week, singer and songwriter Dan Seals died at the age of 61. He was half of the chart-topping soft rock duo England Dan and John Ford Coley, and he had country music hits like Meet Me in Montana and Bop. 20 years ago this week, actor Peter Ustinov died at the age of 82. He won Academy Awards for his performances in Spartacus and Top Copy, and he was a goodwill ambassador for UNICEF for decades. Singer and songwriter Teddy Pendergrass was born 74 years ago this week. He died in January 2010 at the age of 59. His R&B hits included Close the Door, Two Hearts, and It Should Have Been You. Musician and songwriter Rick Ocasek was born 80 years ago this week. He died in September 2019 at the age of 75. He was the frontman for The Cars, known for 70s and 80s hits like My Best Friend's Girl, Shake It Up, and You Might Think. Singer and songwriter Aretha Franklin was born 82 years ago this week. She died in August 2018 at the age of 76. She was the Queen of Soul, known for classic songs like Respect and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Actor Norman Fell was born 100 years ago this week. He died in December 1998 at the age of 74. His many movies and TV shows included Three's Company, Ocean's 11, and Bullet. Singer and pianist Sarah Vaughan was born 100 years ago this week. She died in April 1990 at the age of 66. Her gorgeous vocals on songs like her signature tune, Send in the Clowns, earned her the nickname the Divine One. Escape artist and illusionist Harry Houdini was born 150 years ago this week. He died in October 1926 at the age of 52. He was known for his spectacular escapes from handcuffs and chains, and for debunking psychics and mediums. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Maryland have been lowered in honor of the victims who tragically lost their lives as a result of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Flags in Connecticut have been lowered to honor the memory of former U.S. Senator Joseph I. Lieberman. Flags in South Dakota have been lowered to honor the memory of former state legislator Claire B. Connolly. Flags in Washington have been lowered to honor the victims and first responders of the 2014 Oso landslide. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of Marion Mayor David P. Helms. Flags in Tennessee have been lowered in honor of the 6 victims lost a year ago this week during the tragic events at the Covenant School. Flags in New York have been lowered to honor the memory of New York City police officer Jonathan Diller, who died in the line of duty. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. You can also follow Legacy.com on Facebook and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.